Just like I promised in my previous vlogs, in this video I am going to talk about my experience of COVID-19. I am 90% sure I had it, although I wasn't tested because my symptoms were fairly mild, and I will tell you what makes me so sure of it. I am Katarina George, and on my YouTube channel I talk about my life in the UK as an Eastern European writer living here, about my travels and also about my Romanian background. Remember to subscribe to my channel please if you like my vlogs. Also give me thumbs up and any thoughts, share them with me in comments. Now let's start with the beginning of what happened to me in March that makes me sure I had COVID-19. I brought you with me to our bedroom because this is where I realized on the night of March the 21st, 2020, a Saturday, that I had the first symptoms. I woke up at about 2:30 a.m. with fever, and that is quite unusual for me. Over the last 10 years I only had fever once, and otherwise I've had the flu like everybody else. For example, the last weekend in November 2019, I had a very bad flu, and I traveled to Glasgow with it. That was a trip that I was so much looking forward to, my very first time in Scotland. I filmed the vlog, you can go and watch it and hear how rough my voice sounded.
Good morning, Glasgow. It would have been an even better morning had I not had this wretched cold, which I know you can hear in my voice.
My throat was so bad, it felt as if I had swallowed a big pack of needles. But still, I was out and about, despite the freezing cold in Glasgow. I recorded a vlog and no fever whatsoever, no exhaustion, no big headache, nothing. Now the story in March was completely different. As soon as I woke up in that state, I knew that I was feverish. I took my temperature and it confirmed it wasn't very high, but it was still fever. I can understand my own symptoms and how my body reacts really well because I grew up with a variety of health issues. I had childhood asthma, then recurring bronchitis, I had pneumonia a few times, and my tonsils weren't doing great either in my childhood. So during my recurring tonsillitis as a child, I would often have episodes of fever of 1 to 3 days when I was feeling really bad. I couldn't stand, I couldn't get out of bed, couldn't eat or drink many times. But fever without a sore throat, that isn't something that I've experienced a lot of in my life, I can tell you that much. Now, before we talk a bit more about symptoms and what makes me so convinced that I had it, I will tell you what the worst part of it was. No, it wasn't the way I felt, although that sucked. It really did. I remember the very last symptom that I could have done without was the worst migraine in my life. I was lying down on the sofa. I was really moaning in pain, and it felt so bad that I thought I had some sort of an infection spreading up to my brain and that I was actually going to die. It took more than 2 paracetamols to help it, although that's what usually really helps me with my migraines. But the worst part of it was that we had to separate. My partner and I avoided each other in the house for the next 7 to 10 days, whatever was recommended at the time. He moved straight away into the guest bedroom, and then, we didn't spend time in the same room together for a while. He would cook for me and leave the food for me in the kitchen, and I will go downstairs and eat it. And that is what felt really the worst from all of it, because when you're unwell and you could do with a little bit of comfort and still you are unable to get even the smallest human touch, that's difficult to cope with. And I remember that frightened me the most, that either I or my partner Adrian would end up in hospital and we wouldn't be able to see each other. while the symptoms would maybe getting worse. Okay, this is very depressing. So let's go back into the conservatory and talk about the rest of the symptoms that I've experienced since that March the 21st. Now, there we are back into the conservatory. It's such a beautiful evening light. We'll sit down here and talk about the rest of the symptoms that I experienced and that specialists have associated with COVID-19. Here we are back into the conservatory where we started this vlog, and we're going to talk now about further symptoms. What a cheerful subject for a vlog, isn't it? Still, I think that talking about this coronavirus is important because it highlighted where our society, economy, politics are at the moment, and not in a very particular positive way, I would say. Still, if we are going to sort any of the issues that humanity is confronted with at a global but also at a local level, I think we need to start by looking at them, don't you agree? Well, we might leave that for another vlog. Right now, let's talk about the other symptoms that I've experienced. As I said, it started with fever, not much else other than my sinuses suffering really badly. My sinuses have been sensitive throughout my whole life, but never like this year. However, they're not the main reason why I think, and I'm pretty convinced I had COVID. The main reasons are these symptoms, such as loss of smell and taste. I never had that with any flu in my whole life, and for 2 days in March, 2 or 3 days, I couldn't really taste my food, my smell was gone, and smell is so important to me that I would notice anything happening to my smell. Then I also had like my capillary veins, the little ones that are located under the skin, breaking when I worked out. Again, I've been working out regularly and doing Pilates, body balance, even pole fitness recently, and however much strain I placed on my body or my skin when, doing pole fitness and all sorts of acrobatics around the pole, I never had my veins just breaking under my skin where I maybe did push-ups or something like that. So all of these reasons, all of these symptoms cropping up really make me think that I had it, and probably I will never know because nobody tested me back then. Even if they test me today, antibody tests are not so reliable as sources out there show. So we're still in a very confusing situation where I think each of us has to take things with a pinch of salt, but also to realize how serious this whole situation is and what it highlighted about the way we live in today. I am a big believer in taking the best out of life and even out of the worst situations that we've been through. And the best thing that happened to me during these months was the fact that I focused on writing. This is why at the end of this vlog I'd like to read you a poem. I wrote this poem on the day of the worst migraine in my life that I've mentioned previously in the video. I shall attempt to read it without my glasses because I haven't worked out yet a way of how to read with glasses in front of the camera or in front of a live audience, so I'm yet to figure that out. Now, I will read this poem for you. Break these walls. An army of worries digs through my forehead while the first pairs of butterflies are dancing in the garden. My forgotten territory in the land of pretense. Weeds have crept through crevices I didn't know existed. Pot after pot lifts timidly creeping stalks as winter's indifference shatters under the noise. Pigeons cooing on the roof, wings flapping, a lawnmower humming in the distance. Pain conquers ground, pokes its flag through my skull. It's a war camp, life gone AWOL through a long season of misplacement. Or maybe a drill clearing space for new crops. When the outside is shutting down under insidious threat, what we relied upon leaks weakness. What we embraced, fleeting glass tower reflections, flooded streams of deceit, measure the depth of our fall by everything we didn't need. There is so much more we can lose. Creeping fight through my bones while fingers trace the future of tomato plants. We will return to a simpler life, vegetable rows, salad planters, jam jars, hearts pulling at each other's feet. We will break these walls of voracity, this war camp they slowly built inside our brains, stomp these rows of poisonous seedlings, feeding fake humanity with fake goals. We can breathe without making profit. Eat what we grow. Love what we leave. I hope you liked this little poetry performance I put together for you, and I hope you liked this vlog. If you did, remember to subscribe to my channel, give me thumbs up, leave any thoughts you might have in comments below. I hope you're all keeping well and healthy, and I hope you're all keeping close to everything that brings joy to your life. Until next time then, I'll tell you ciao for now.